It was right here where Marcus suffered that second knee injury. And it was also right here where not only several of his teammates, but teammates from the opposite team would pour onto the field in respect for Marcus. Help is closer than you think. Right here on campus, students can visit the Burns Building at the Counseling and Human Development Center to speak to counselors about mental health issues. Mr. Woods says that his yard is filled with dozens of people, adults and children, on Halloween night. And if you haven't been here before, he says that you're in for a fun, exciting, yet thriller night. While many students may be worried about the Ebola outbreak and whether or not the health center is prepared, they are, however, prepared for the flu virus, in which some staff members feel can be contracted a lot easier. Cooper had 4 touchdowns in Saturday's game, 1 passing, 1 rushing, and 2 receiving. Cooper took to Twitter to say he is blessed and honored to hold the school record. After spending the 2013 season on the non-football injury list with the 49ers, Marcus Lattimore realized that he would not be able to perform on an NFL field. Tweeting his official statement of retirement, Marcus says it's time to end his professional career. Marcus was not able to fully recover from a knee injury he suffered in 2012. USC trainer Clint Haggard was the first out on the field when Lattimore got hurt.
And as soon as I went to stabilize it, he had dislocated his knee, and so his knee actually went back into place before I actually touched it. And like I said, Marcus was upset, and me knowing him and knowing his history and all that kind of stuff, that became my focus more on him as a person.
It was right here where Marcus suffered that second knee injury. And it was also right here where not only several of his teammates, but teammates from the opposite team would pour onto the field in respect for Marcus. The crowd would cheer for Marcus in a standing ovation as he was carted off the field, his head covered in a towel. Former USC quarterback and voice of the Gamecocks Todd Ellis was in the press box on that day.
Oh no, this is going to hurt his NFL chances. And then number 2, just so hurt because we all had known what he did to get back from the previous injury.
Despite Lattimore's second severe knee injury, the 49ers drafted him in the 4th round of the 2013 draft, which to some was a surprise.
Again, I'm shocked. Never seen an example of it ever. You almost could not blame the NFL if they didn't do that. We're not talking about $2,000 a week. We're talking about several $100,000 they put into Marcus Lattimore. Now, is he worth that? Of course Marcus is.
Lattimore's injury resulted in him falling from a consensus first-round pick, with a projected monetary loss of at least $5 million. Marcus says he plans to return to the University of South Carolina to finish his degree in public health. Head coach Steve Spurrier said he reached out to Marcus.
I told him he's got a home back here in Columbia, University of South Carolina, and he knows that. So hopefully he'll be back soon, probably try to graduate starting class in January.
Lattimore's agent, Michael Peard, says that he will seek his $1.7 million insurance policy. Nichelle Torres, Carolina News. It's called Spike Ball, and that's what kept this group of students busy as they camped out anticipating a moment on the big screen. College game day was in town, and students were eager to be a part of it. Fans would continue to pass the time by, whether it was bouncing a ball, playing a game of cornhole, or strumming the keys to their guitar. For one of ESPN's flagship programs, a strong turnout was expected, and soon an empty pit would be full of screaming fans. It's been 2 years since College Game Day's last stop in Columbia, and many were excited for the program's return.
It's been a blast, honestly. Me and my friends were so excited for it. We had to get up and stay up all night and stuff. Like, we pulled an all-nighter.
The college football world had all eyes on the historic horseshoe. And when it's time for Lee Corso to make his pick, He picked no other than the South Carolina Gamecocks. That certainly left fans in high hopes. Hopes that were unfortunately damaged by the team as they lost by 1 point. Nichelle Torres, Carolina News. A recent study by the Anorexia Nervosa organization says that eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. USC student Margaret Kramer was a sophomore in high school when she developed an eating disorder that took over her life.
I would say that it really was just understanding the physical detriment that eating disorder was causing on my body.
Kramer says that she ate just enough to stay alive, and it was then that she sought help.
For me, I needed a team of a nutritionist, a doctor, family doctor, a psychologist.
The study also found that without treatment, up to 20% of people with serious eating disorders die. Eating disorders can be caused by a variety of issues.
Eating disorders really are about control when things feel out of control.
For me, it was more about perfectionism and anxiety.
An eating disorder is a disease that can control you mentally and physically.
I think with eating disorders, they become life-consuming, and that's all somebody thinks about.
Margaret became a mental health advocate and peer leader for Changing Carolina.
I think I would just hope that they understood that reaching out is not a sign of weakness.
Help is closer than you think. Right here on campus, students can visit the Burns Building at the Counseling and Human Development Center to speak to counselors about mental health issues. As for Margaret, she is glad to have taken control over her life and to have become an example for others.
You really do find yourself, like you said, in what you do for other people.
Margaret says that she will continue to be an advocate for those dealing with mental illness. Nichelle Torres, Carolina News. With the recent Ebola events here in the United States, students at the University of South Carolina expect the Student Health Center to be prepared, but some students are not very confident.
If most hospitals in Dallas and Atlanta can't contain it completely, I doubt the Student Health Center here is capable of it.
But Media Relations Director Marjorie Duffy says that the center is prepared.
We have a room that we can put people in. It's not an actual quarantine room because we're not equipped for that here, but it's a room that we can put individuals in where we can communicate with them and have little exposure to other individuals and our staff. So we have that available if we suspect that someone comes in.
The health center posted information on its site expressing how hard it is to contract the disease. While many students may be worried about the Ebola outbreak and whether or not the health center is prepared, they are, however, prepared for the flu virus, in which some staff members feel can be contracted a lot easier.
The flu kills way more people than Ebola is definitely in this country. So it's coming and getting your flu shot, that if you're really truly worried about your health, people need to come get their flu shot.
The flu is definitely a major concern compared to the Ebola virus for our particular campus.
But no matter the flu or Ebola-like symptoms, the health center says that they are here for students, and if a higher level of care is needed, they have the specific contacts for that as well. Health officials at the health center say that if you have been to an affected area, that you should contact them immediately to avoid the transmission of the virus to others. Nichelle Torres, Carolina News. 3829 Lynbrook Drive is a very popular house on Halloween night. Resident Tim Wood goes all out when setting the Halloween tone for his home.
There's a good bit of work that goes into it the first couple of weeks of October. I like to have everything set up at least a week and a half to 2 weeks before the Halloween actually starts. That gives the neighbors and the folks coming through the neighborhood an opportunity to actually see the lights.
From lights to jack-o'-lanterns and popular tunes, Mr. Wood's home has set a tradition for his neighbors.
So the neighborhood loves trick-or-treaters, and then this is, come here first and come here last.
He says that the only time-consuming part is setting the music.
It's almost like being in a nightclub outside. Does that make sense?
And once that's done, the Halloween magic begins. Mr. Wood says that his yard is filled with dozens of people, adults and children, on Halloween night. And if you haven't been here before, he says that you're in for a fun, exciting, yet thriller night. Mr. Wood says this is something he looks forward to every year.
It's like a hobby of mine.
And every year there is more to look forward to.
It's just gotten bigger and bigger, and he's had the dry ice.
Mr. Wood's hard work makes for a wonderful night for all trick-or-treaters. Nichelle Torres, Carolina News.